All right. And we are live, guys. What's going on, Clyve? How you doing today? How you doing, Thomas? How you doing, bud?
I'm feeling substantially better today.
Nice, nice. So you feeling better every day?
Yep. Of course, I've got this little thing I put on my finger that measures my O2 readings, and every day they just climb up a little bit.
Okay. Nice, nice. What you wearing?
I wonder,
You wearing anything watch-wise?
I wonder if I can stick this O2 sensor on. No, it definitely won't fit in the. Never mind, forget it. Anyway, it's probably unhygienic anyway. Actually, I'm wearing the Young Hands, which I've got up as the avatar today.
Nice, nice. Morning, Thomas. Morning, Cowboy Swami. How you guys doing? But I'm actually right now. I'm just wearing the Islander watch, the little excuse me, like the modded SKX about off the Long Island watch.
Yeah, I've noticed, man. You've been cranking out some content, man.
Yeah, like I'm trying to do. Rob kind of inspired me to do like a video every day, or at least like a live stream too every day. So Rob does one like I don't see how Rob does it though. He does sometimes 2 a day.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and some of it is just having the right ideas, the right things to talk about. Speaking of which, what's the topic for today?
Like I mentioned to you yesterday, why do we nickname our watches? Like, why do we nickname? Of course, I mean it's obvious reasons, but like, why do we nickname like the Rolex Hulk or like a lot of Seikos? Like my Orange Monster has a nickname. The Turtle, the Captain Willard. Chris,
I know that was a segue for you to tell the audience what the.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right. But it's a good topic, I think.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I think part of it was like our discussion we were talking about yesterday is that, some of these reference numbers used by the brands, and I think Grand Seiko and Omega Swatch are some of the worst ones about just having like 25 freaking numbers and letters, seemingly at random.
Mm-hmm. And you think it's basically because, like I said before, that people just don't want to memorize all those reference numbers?
I think people can't memorize all. I think people can't, frankly. How many people have password as their password?
Yeah, exactly. And how many people have the same password for everything they use, too?
Yep. Now, what do you mean? Where did Clyve? I'm right here. Why that's weird.
Probably about what we were talking about earlier. God, he must not have known you were out for a little bit.
Yeah, Wisconsin Watch Guy. I was hospitalized for COVID there for a couple of weeks. So
thankfully, he's doing a lot better.
So much better.
You sound a lot better.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, what's nice is that Big Sis has completely gone into Big Sis mode. So she's retired. Okay. So I'm getting a care package from almost. She'd send me a care package every day if I let her.
Nice.
She's also quite the gourmand. So, yeah.
Nice. Pretty good cook, huh?
Absolutely, yes.
And then what's going on, Jason? We got Jason in here. He's saying memorizing numbers sometimes is just flexing. I can see that. I think a lot of watch geeks like ourselves, they think it's like cool to memorize numbers, which I cannot memorize a reference number to save my life, except for maybe like the Explorer or something like that. That's easy to remember, like 214, 270 or whatever.
Well, Rolex, it's 4, 5, or 6 numbers, so not too bad. And also, they're also derivative. You can also tell just from the reference number. You can tell it's 4 digits. You can tell, okay, this is a older GMT. This from like the 70s or 80s. This is a GMT from the 90s, early 2000s, and they're all derivative numbers, basically. They just add numbers to the front or to the back.
Okay.
And the only reason why I know any numbers is because I have the watch, and sometimes the watch has had such a long production run that haven't like my Speedy 321. It's a .105.012-66.
Mm-hmm.
But I think another reason why we give nicknames, besides convenience, and besides the fact that I think it does more to describe the watch than just a series of numbers and letters, it's the way of making the watch ours.
True. And now, do you think a lot of times, like the association with like comic books and stuff, has a little bit, because we tend to be a little bit on the geeky side. I mean, I'll admit that. I know I am on like a watch nerd. Like we're a little bit like we get in like the comic books and stuff like that. So we kind of take that stuff over to watches.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, a lot of times, we'll go into, if you go into an AD, usually if you're any sort of a watch fan, you'll know more about the watch than the person actually selling it does, especially at the AD level. No,
Definitely.
No, resellers on the other hand, resellers know a lot, generally know everything there is to know about the watch and the reference, and almost what the value of the watch is going for every day.
And Jason is saying Rolex is a pass because the differences are so minute. The references are the only way to say which is which. This is true. I feel like Rolex numbers are some of the easiest to memorize. Don't you, Clyve?
Yeah. I was talking about that just now because they're all derived from each other. And you can, 16750, 16750, 216570.
like Omega is the worst about reference numbers. Like they have such long reference numbers. Like my Seamaster, I can't remember what it was. It was like a crazy long reference number. I can never memorize it. I know that.
And on the other hand, like I said, the Watch for Rebels reminds us all of comic speculation. You see, I don't know. I have had comic books before, but on the other hand, I kind of had a really higher than usual reading level for my age growing up, so I could go through a comic book in like 2 minutes.
That's how I was. I was reading like Tom Clancy. I was a bit of a nerd. I was reading like Tom Clancy when I was in like the 5th grade, 6th grade, like Tom Clancy stuff.
Right. Well, actually, and the story is that I taught myself to read using World Book encyclopedias when I was like a year and a half.
Okay.
So,
but
I can remember a couple of times just sitting there coloring and doing whatever. And the big sister right now is coming in. When did the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor? December 7th, 1941. Comes back. When did the Germans invade Poland? September 10th, 1939.
Yeah.
When did, then hearing from the back room, God damn it, Patty, do your own homework.
Man, that's another thing I've always been into too, is military history, world history.
Well,
I feel like a lot of that kind of goes over to the whole watch nerd kind of thing too. Like I feel like a lot of the crowd, like there are of course one's bad apples in every crowd, but I feel like overall the watch crowd is more educated, would you say, than a lot of other hobbies?
I would say so. A little bit above average in earning power, a little bit above average in education, but age as well. Because when I was growing up, there were still the veterans were still there. The veterans were in their prime, and sometimes they'd something, a patch or something, or a pendant, and you could tell, and you'd want to ask, and I'd always like to ask them, tell me about what you did.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them won't talk about what they did either.
Nope. Nope.
Like I know my grandpa, may he rest in peace, he never really talked about. I mean, he was in the Navy during World War II. He didn't really talk about it much. So
Right. And also,
one interesting fact about that. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say one interesting fact that I did find out about my manager that's helping run the remodel we're doing. He was the Air Force PJ.
Air Force PJ?
The ones that went in and rescued the down pilots and all that.
Oh, okay.
Parachute and then they work with like special ops and they call, like air raids in and stuff.
Nice. Badass to the bone.
Yeah, like they work like with SEALs and all that too. Like even though they're Air Force, they call in the airstrikes and stuff. Which is pretty cool.
It's like, okay, well, they're just Air Force. They're jumping in behind enemy lines with basically a pistol. I mean, come the fuck on. I don't. But when it comes right down to it, also is I've got a nice little collection of war watches.
Of what?
War watches.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, yeah, nice.
One from actually War II. And the thing is, though, they used to be literally, they're made in the millions.
Mm-hmm.
And all over the place. And no one, and because of that, it's just like, shit, there's so many of them. Resale kind of sucks.
Yeah, but they're still fun to have and collect too, though.
Well, yeah. And that's one of my big things is just there are now there are re-editions.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes my head want to explode because it's like, don't go out in real life, look at places, brick and mortar places.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Why would you want a re-edition when you can get the actual thing, the real thing?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times, a lot of people have trouble getting over that vintage aspect. Like they feel like even though they were made to be like beat around, they feel like they're too
delicate.
I guess, yeah. So I think a lot of times people can't wrap that around their heads, and they prefer the newer, more modern interpretation because they like the looks of it, but they know it's going to last. Well, not last longer, obviously, but they know, I guess, in their minds.
I think it would. Well, I think you can make the argument that maybe it would last longer because
or be more durable.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. Man, what's going on, Orange? And we got Six Killer in here. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Bud. How you guys doing?
But at one point, I was on with the Horned One, and this is back when he had a Moonwatch and I didn't. And he was showing, and I said, okay, and just like, well, it's a bit small, showing my A11. And what I like about my A11 is it's a Bulova. But in 1943, they, for some reason, instead of making it out of plated cases, so they brass and they played with nickel, Bulova for like 6 months in 1943 just made all the cases out of silver. No one knows why. And then they stopped without telling anybody. So it's a really nice case to have. You don't have to worry about, you do have to worry about tarnishing, but you don't have to worry about the nickel wearing off if you wear the watch.
Nice.
And at which point I was saying, okay, your watch is a commemorative edition. Your watch pays homage to the ones that went to the lunar surface.
No, Bulova just made a reissue, right? Of that military watch?
What?
Bulova just didn't they just make a reissue of that military field watch?
Well, this one was called the A11.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to take a look at it.
Okay. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Bulova just made a reissue.
But the story, what I was telling the other guy is, your watch is a homage watch. My watch, my actual watch, won World War II. And then I did a simulated mic drop.
Now, do you collect from both sides of the war, Allied and Axis?
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple of Allied ones. Of course, the one I really like is the Bulova A11, and it's actually surprisingly usable, even though it's tiny. And do you know why?
What is that?
Contrast. It doesn't. Yeah, and it also doesn't. It has zero lume on it because it wasn't meant to be glow in the dark. It was meant to be red. You're flying in a plane, so
Mm-hmm.
instrument light and everything else like that. So those watches have held up incredibly well.
Speaking of, by the way, the Loom, have you seen they're coming out with a movie about the Radium Girls?
No, I've not, but they deserved the movie.
Yeah, I can't remember what platform it's coming out on. It's either on Hulu or Netflix or one of those, I think. But they're coming out with a movie. It looks pretty interesting
Oh
about
yeah,
the history.
yep. Boy, they got yeah, horrible, 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 horrible,
Yeah,
horrible. Um, what happened to those gals? It was almost as horrific as the first responders at Chernobyl, except
yeah.
radiation was just localized to their freaking faces and their mouths.
That was back when nobody knew any better too. That's back when they thought smoking was still okay for you. You know.
Oh yeah, and it was just like, well, we have to, I have to get a point on the, I have to, and a lot of times they get the radium paint and apply it to surfaces, very fine surfaces, like watch dials. And the easiest way to do that was just to go in and, was just to quickly lick the brush, use the spittle
Uh-huh.
to basically form a very fine point on it. And if you ignore the paste, but because no one knew about the long-term consequences of radium and radiation, it did not turn out well.
Adventures with Time. Good morning, bud. That's a new name on here. Welcome to the chat. He's asking. He's been looking for a WW2 ORD watch, but here there are a lot of fakes for Frankens. Any thoughts on that? I would stay away from the fakes and Frankens if I could at all possible.
Thanks. ORD, I think that means ordnance, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I would think.
Well,
What do you think?
Like anything else, by the seller, but also on something like that, Adventures with Time, I would go out and look for in real life.
Yeah.
Watch resellers sometimes. Once a month, there's like a bunch of people gather at what used to be Crossroads Mall, which don't get me started about Crossroads Mall, but one half is like guns and the other half is antiques, and a lot of times there's some watch guys with the antiques.
Nice. And do you think like if you have like local watch shops and stuff too, they might have some of those in there as well?
Absolutely, yes. And also, Adventure, if you're going to do that, here's another advantage of looking locally. Also, find a watchsmith. Find a watchsmith in your area that knows about it and that can work on it.
Definitely. That's one of those things. Like I said, I would definitely try to stay. Actually, Watch You Seek is. I've never really had a bad experience on Watch You Seek. I've mostly sold. I bought a couple on Watch You Seek. It's one of those things you gotta have like 100 posts, but there's a lot of knowledgeable guys on there, and if there's like a bad seller on there, they'll just like throw them off completely. So they're not gonna just be on there just to be on there to screw people over. That's one thing I can say about Watch You Seek. A lot of knowledge on there too.
Well, and self-policing. That makes a difference because they realize they allow one or two assholes on there. It affects their reputation also as well.
Definitely. Because if there's like one bad, deal that goes bad, everybody's gonna know about it.
Yep.
Pretty much. So that might be one place to look. Like if you don't have like a lot of places locally, like if you're in a smaller town or something, maybe. But even a lot of small towns have stuff like that too, though, like the older watches, right?
Yeah. Also, Facebook. Okay.
Yeah.
I found a minty vintage Hoyer stopwatch for a flea market. Yeah. Okay. Orange Hand, Clyve Watch Wrangler at gmail.com. Send me a picture because I've got a regatta watch, and I think I bet you it's the same one.
Those are pretty cool from what I've seen. I've seen them on eBay. I hadn't seen them in person, but they look pretty cool.
Yeah, and something like and $90. It's a Hoyer, for Pete's sake.
Exactly. You could use it, throw it on your desk and use it as a desk clock.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, I probably wouldn't carry it around all the time unless you want to, but I use it as a desk clock. So,
But
you have any vintage Hoyer, Clyve?
Yeah, I've got a two wrister. I've got a Big Eyes from the 30s,
Okay.
and jeez, I think it's a little 21 movement.
Okay.
Also, I've got a Hoyer. Whoops, sorry. I'm frightful this morning. I also need a haircut so bad.
I need one too. I need to trim up on my beard too.
I have actually, well, I've shaved off the beard, obviously. So
my girlfriend likes the beard, so I'll keep it. I guess get it trimmed.
And I'm looking. I can't really find my Hoyer. Right, I thought I had it up earlier, but it wasn't that car. I have a Hoyer Baylor triple date.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty cool. From
the ones that I actually find interesting is the Abercrombie and Fitch ones. Those are like high dollar though, aren't they? Like the clothing brand, because I remember that brand used to be like popular. They probably still are, but it used to be popular like when I was in high school.
Now, Orange Hand. Okay. Now, just send me a pic of it. I have the regatta timer. Okay, TrackMaster. So actually a stopwatch. It's nice, but obviously I'm not going to. I don't do any competitive running. I actually don't do any running. And the one rule I have is if I'm not going to wear if I'm not going to wear it, I'm not going to buy it. I can look at it, I can appreciate a watch, but unless I can see myself strapping it on and going through the day with it, I'm not going to buy anything.
Now, do you wear your vintage more than your modern ones?
Sometimes, it kind of depends on the mood.
Okay.
It kind of depends on the mood and what I'm doing and so forth and so on.
Because you can kind of get away with it with your job because you got kind of like an office job where, mine, if I did something like that or warm, I would worry about beating them up too much,
Well, the downside is that I've got to, if I'm going to if it's an office day, I have to be a little bit more selective because, metal detectors at the courthouse.
Yeah.
So I've got to be a little bit more protective of watches that way.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Man. But achieving watch club.
Yeah.
I hope not, bud.
Well, do you have any plans for the holiday?
No, nothing really too crazy. Probably go over to my parents, watch the kids, my nephews and niece open up their presents. I already got their stuff. Nephews, of course, got them money because they're 10 and 8. They're hard to buy for at that age. Niece is 6, so they're fun to watch. My girlfriend will go over there, of course. But other than that, nothing too crazy. What about you?
Well, I think Big Sister's going to do some cooking, but on the other hand, her kids. She was suggesting, okay, guys, of course, some of her youngest kids are still in like grad school. And she's like, I really think we should be doing A, B, and C. And of course, being 20-year-olds, how much attention do they pay? 0. So they're like, well, we'd like to come over for Christmas. And she's like, no, you're not. No, we don't. Me and your dad are perfectly fine. We don't want to go to the hospital. We don't want to do this. You didn't listen, so
Yeah.
However, she might be doing some cooking and just kind of almost going around delivering Christmas plates to the rest of the family, which to me that's perfectly fine. Yay.
Yeah. What's she usually make?
It depends on what she does. It depends what kind of mood she's in.
Okay.
And what's nice is that she's vegan, but her husband is still like, screw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, her husband's like, no, my family, we grew up eating buffalo for hundreds of years, so no, we're not gonna. No.
Yeah, I couldn't do vegan. I love bacon too much.
Exactly. So usually a nice little mix. And one of the nice grocery stores around has like standing rib roasts for like $16 a pound. I'm thinking, oh my God, that sounds so good. But I thought it through, and it's just like, am I going to sit there on Christmas Day and eat like 5 pounds of effing prime rib?
Why not, right?
Oh, that'd be a good way to. Yeah, that'd be a good way to punish myself the day after.
I know Mom usually bakes a ham.
Yep.
Mashed potatoes, corn, all that good stuff. So should be pretty good eating. She likes to cook or bake cookies too. So.
But well, and the funny part is, after my experience, everyone in the family is taking this a little bit more seriously.
I'm sure. I know we're all glad you're back, man.
Thanks. Well, I'm pretty sure that watches and giggles.
Yeah, actually, you definitely do sound a lot better.
Tell my daughter, well, I think you saved your life. I think you saved my life. So do yourself a favor and don't tell your mother.
Yeah. Did you give her the pulsometer? I can't say it. Yeah. The pulsometer watch.
Yes, I did, and yeah, really, I was looking through it again. It's before I gave it to her. It was, jeez, American made porcelain dial. So with a porcelain dial, vintage watches with porcelain dials are wonderful because they, as long as they're not dropped, as long as they're not physically damaged, they are so pristine.
Nice. No, I don't know if you saw. I actually got a modern interpretation of one in it's a micro brand. They're on Kickstarter right now.
Nice. Porcelain dial?
No, it's I believe it's a sapphire crystal. Okay. But not porcelain dial, of course. This is I can't even think of what kind of dial it is, but it's actually got running a Seiko the Mecha Quartz movement in it. It's not a bad little watch for I think it's like $250, $260, something like that.
Yeah, actually pretty decent for the price.
And it looks decent too. I mean, it looks like a pretty cool watch. The guys behind the company are actually doctors too.
Give me 1 second. Return a couple of texts so my phone and my computer don't start going beep, beep, beep. Everyone's like, yeah.
And wasn't it, as far as the pulsometers, didn't Invicta have one back in the day, of all people? I believe wasn't it them that had one of those?
Yeah. And of course,
I think they just came out with a reissue, of course.
Right. So, yeah. So it looks quite well. It looks good. It actually works out well anyway because vintage size, a little bit on the small size for modern taste, but for a female, it actually works more like what's traditionally now a female size. So
nice.
And I used to, and told Hannah, this is the sort of serious tool that some nurses, but mostly doctors wore.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So I'd like to think maybe starting the hobby up with her, at least igniting the fire of horology.
Nice. Has something to do with your daughter, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, and especially It's symbolic because it measures pulse, and I could.
Yeah.
A few people have said, had she not dragged you to the hospital when she did, you may not have a pulse right now.
Yeah. Definitely. We're all glad she did.
Yep, she totally trick fucked me.
Yeah, you're probably like me. You're probably stubborn on that stuff, right? Like you won't go unless like you absolutely have to.
Well, and she was even saying I was gray, like colorless. But it's just like, walk me in a car and I'll tell you about this problem I've got. You maybe can help me with it. Okay, yeah, right. Well, Hannah, what I think maybe it would be a good idea. Walked around the corner and there was an SUV, but in front of her SUV was an ambulance and 3 EMTs jump out. Surround me. I'm like, oh, fuck.
It's just like cornered, huh?
Oh, surrounded.
Now, was it like where all the people wearing the gear?
Even if I was in good health, I wouldn't be able to outrun these guys.
Yeah. Were all the people wearing like the DHEC gear and all that?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Orange Hand saying he to Wisconsin watch guy. I guess that's WI Wisconsin maybe. Watch guy. I originally went to the place because the guy had a 2011 Rolex catalog, which was the release of my Explorer 2, $25 Canadian. That's not too bad.
Absolutely not. Actually, I actually think probably what would be a good idea for another live stream would be watch rules for 2021. Sure. I've had a few ideas buzzing around my empty head.
Okay. Now, do you have any plans for next year as far as purchases, or do you just kind of like me? You kind of usually do like what's on your mind at the moment.
Well, sometimes, especially getting used and getting vintage, you basically look at what pops up around you. It's like it's either no or
Huh?
Yeah.
It's kind of impulse buys.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, now I was not planning to get a Junghans pre-Bund watch from the early 50s, but however, when it became available quite near me and just looking at the dial, I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, it is a good looking watch.
Gorgeous. What's nice is that the indices were radium, patinaed up, but the rest of the dials is in good shape, and they also they had enough sense to not to try to redo it or try to refinish it. So don't. Sounds like you.
Man.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, we're going over a little over half an hour. Are you about ready to call it a day, Clyve?
Yeah, I think so. I think my energy, I've about kind of given out. I'm starting to give out a little bit.
I'm probably going to rest up a little bit. Of course, like I said, we got a Notre Dame game here at 4 Eastern my time. I don't know what time it'll be your time, probably earlier. So I'll be watching that, of course. We play Notre Dame. So hopefully we'll win this time around. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys all coming on and watching. Thanks, Clyve, for joining in.
Thanks for having me, Chris. I enjoyed it.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. You guys see you guys later then. Oh wait, Thomas just asked a question. What is your favorite Rolex nickname then? Patrizi, James Bond, Clint Eastwood, Newman, Cameron, John Player Special, Smurf, Hulk, Batman, Root Beer, Pepsi, or Coke? I kind of like the Cameron, the nickname wise.
The Smurf. Okay. I like the Smurf because it takes a very, very exclusive, very, very expensive watch and gives it almost like a playful tweak, like it's almost like you're tweaking it on the nose.
Okay.
Now, what was Oil Watch's money asking?
He's saying, let's see here. He's saying, what are you thinking about? What are you looking at? What are you going to buy? What do you want? And what do you lost after? Excuse me.
Now, see,
Sorry, I had to do numbers.
Now, Oil Money watches for extra points. You need to come on, and when I try to answer each one of those questions, you interrupt me with more questions. You'd get extra points if you did that. So yeah, everyone, it's just like looks like we're going to have a nice. We had a couple of little mini blizzards. The snow is all melted. So what's nice is that if I have any wind or if I have any excess energy, it's nice to be able to know you can just jump in the car and drive somewhere.
Okay, nice. No snow, huh?
No snow.
What's going on in urban country? Sorry, go ahead.
Thunderbird, yeah, Orange Hand, that is a good one itself. Mm-hmm. Now, if I'd been asked that question at the beginning of the live stream, I'd probably be a little bit more coherent. Jeez. Rare Bird.
All right.
Rare Bird. Oh,
yeah.
Of course, I'm still, I might have to do a video. I'm still putting out the oyster quartz out there. We've got a two-tone oyster quartz and black dial, golden disease, and gold hands. And I put that out locally. And the guy was responding to it out of Dallas. He's like, "Ah, shit, you're Oklahoma City." I said, well, yeah, that's why it says Oklahoma City, where I'm at. Yeah. And I was saying, well, he asked me about the watch. He said, well, if I didn't have the 1530 and the 1630, I wouldn't be selling it. Of course, the guy then starts asking about the 1630. It's like, no, I'm not fucking selling the 1630. I'm just saying that's the reason why I'm selling this one, because I have that one. Yeah. And he would let that thing go, literally. I finally told him, give it up, son. You're not getting it. It's not for sale. But I started looking at it again. It's like, those things are going crazy.
Yeah. I think any Rolex really now is going crazy. It doesn't even matter what it is.
Well, yeah, and they're starting at like $8,500.
Yeah. That's crazy.
There's 0 for sale on Watch Recon. When you go to the Chrono 24, there's like 4 or 5. Okay. They're almost catching up to the 1530, which still blows my little mind. But at first I was almost like amazed about it. But I've been telling people what a great deal they are and how underappreciated they are. So I guess I should not, I guess I shouldn't be flabbergasted about that, since essentially I'm right.
Okay.
Now,
go ahead.
If you don't get one, don't get one. Don't play the investment game. Don't.
Yeah, just get one to wear it because you like it, right?
Yeah, and
you know what's crazy, by the way? My girlfriend, she listens to, of course, like R&B, hip hop, and I could have sworn I heard a song in the car last night where he didn't say it for long, but one of the rappers was talking about Nomos. I was like, huh? I was like, now Nomos is probably going to skyrocket.
Probably. I think everything is. And I think we might have to do a follow-up, and I start like rules or what I think the 2021 watch market is going to look like, or predictions for it.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Like I said, I've got a couple ideas rolling around my empty little head.
Okay, nice. All right, guys. I guess we'll call it a day there if you guys are ready. But I appreciate everybody for coming on. And like I said, thanks again, Clyve, for joining in.
Well, all right. Thanks for having me. A pleasure as always.
Yes, sir. It should be...